Well, welcome to the Victoria Leadership Collective. Kelly Darwin, Rishi Sharma. Good morning. How are you guys?
Fantastic. Good morning. Good to see you both.
Yeah, it sure is. These are
Been
fun.
a
It really
while.
brings us back, eh, Kelly? The days.
Uh, yeah.
We've done a few of these, I can tell you.
It'd
Um,
be interesting to see how many. I feel like we're triple digits, I think.
I think so too.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm dead and gone, or if I'm in some sort of controversial position, there will be no shortage of videotape of me out there.
All there's going to be of me is on Zoom complaining about infrastructure.
Oh, I see. So we're smack in the middle of a provincial election. Who knows? Maybe close to a federal election. But you know what? Today we're not going to talk about politics, unless,
Excellent.
of course, you feel compelled to. There's no rules here. But what we want to focus on is the leadership components of running for office. Both of you ran for office in variety of elections over the last, I'd say, half dozen or more years. And I happen to think that that's extraordinarily courageous. I want to talk about the leadership pieces of that, whatever that means. There's, I think, close to 90, no, I don't know the exact number. I'm sure I'll edit myself, something like 90 plus ridings in this provincial election. Let's assume there are three people in most of them. So that means there could be upwards of 250 people running. And really, we only focus on policy and maybe quite a bit sometimes on their social media stuff. What is the humanity of it all? You two ran. What does it take? What are the leadership pieces? So I have not, so I'm going to shut up and let you guys take it from here.
Kelly, since you're so familiar with John, you've done so many podcasts. Did you want to start?
Sure. The leadership part, first and foremost for me was I complain a lot about no matter what color stripe government is in, I don't want to pay taxes. I don't want to be told what to do. I think we should be able to do lots more things. So I'm always complaining about stuff. And I figured this was the ultimate, okay, I get to continue complaining if I run because people always say, wow, you don't like it, go change it. So I tried, I failed, but at least I tried. So I still get to complain
I don't think
online.
there's any failure. No
But it's
failure.
tough. But
Yeah.
if we talk about the leadership part, because it is tough, a lot of people talk about things like that, and everybody has their 2 cents. But um, putting your name into that ring is it's a different world. And I think Reese, you ran in the COVID election as well, right? That was even weirder
Yeah.
because everybody had usually nobody pays attention to politics until there's an election and then everybody kind of figures out what's going on. But during COVID, everybody had so much time in the lockdowns and John, you and I were doing our Friday afternoon beers online, which
Yeah, right. I
I don't
forgot
know
about
if I
that.
think we were the only candidate that did that. But
Yes.
we got a lot of people paying attention because they had nothing else to do. And that was sort of good and bad because we had a lot of great feedback and we had a lot of real crazy feedback.
Hmm.
Um, but as a candidate, you have to be out there and you listen to everybody and you do those interviews and answer those questions and try to do the best you can and hopefully lead by example, which is really what leadership is.
Lead by example. What is the decision making that goes from I'm committed to policy change to I want to represent a party and help policy change? There's a big bridge there that very few people cross because once you cross it, you're under public scrutiny. A lot.
Yeah, I think Rishi, I'm gonna throw this to you in a sec because you have more experience in this, but I think once you're involved in the mechanics of politics and you realize how change actually takes place and that if I think X should happen and you work with people and you make that thing happen and it becomes law, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, one person really does matter. And there's something good that can come out of this effort. Um, so I think Rish, maybe you can speak to that.
I'll just stick to, I won't stick to my time as the chief of staff or working in government, because that's just not, maybe not appropriate right now during the interregnum period. But I'll talk about being in the riding. And here you're looking at this leadership, you're coming in thinking, okay, you're going to lead in this area. That's why you put your name forward. I actually did it more of an inclusion thing. It helped me actually belong with society, help me belong with the community. And I've taken a pretty deep look into why I did it. And I think it was, for example, my children now will go to school. Like when I look at them, I know they're ingrained into the society because I was on working with the schools. I ran locally or ran provincially, and you just really become part of that society. So I went in there thinking I'm going to lead on certain items, and unfortunately and fortunately, fortunately you get to run within a political party, and so like provincially, you're already recognized for certain commitments. Unfortunately, you're recognized for certain commitments. So municipally, it was excellent. It was liberating. I came in as an independent, and I came out with ideas that I thought would help my municipality. And working forward, did my research, wrote some policy, had a very, very informative, web-paced, kind of knowledgeable campaign. And then I got in there and I started talking to my campaign team, and I neglected to listen enough. And one issue that we talked about earlier, John, was on the equity, diversity, inclusion. Went to the doorstep, had a great conversation with somebody. He was from New York, lived in Canada now for about 15 years. And at the end of it, he says, "You're fantastic. This is great." And I said, "Oh, good. So what do you think my chances are?" Just jokingly, because I assumed I had turned him into a supporter. He goes, you won't, I don't want to waste my vote. I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, you're not going to win because you're not white." And that was in the Tilcombe area. Came out of him. I was like, "Oh my God." And so that stuck with me. And then me being racially accosted before stuck with me. And then it just became into this kind of grind on, okay, well, what's the problem here? Why is there so much discrimination against me? And this one campaign strategist, she was my campaign manager. She goes, "Look, I don't think you're looking at this clearly. Everywhere we go, you're getting support. Every music at the park event we're at, people want to talk to you. People are friendly." She goes, "Why do you keep dwelling on those two things?" I said, "Well, it's very impactful to me. How could you say dwelling on it?" But I wasn't listening to her. I didn't let it go. And so listening is what's really needed when you're getting into the local campaigns. Like you are leading. And of course you're putting yourself out there, but be a champion of what other people are trying to suggest. So it's that, like Kelly said, the listening aspect of it, and that servant kind of leadership. If you want to look at different academic terms, it's a servant leadership, but it was eye-opening. And this is what I put in my thesis. I actually interviewed her. We talked about it, and she brought up that example. She goes, "You didn't listen." And maybe I could have it would have had a different impact if I just let it go and just continued to knock on doors and just be friendly and friendly and friendly. But I just kind of dwelled on it. Maybe I would have got those 11 votes I needed to be elected.
Oh, I can't believe it. Oh my gosh.
11.
11.
Yeah. So I like, Kelly, I like how you're talking about the listening aspect of it.
It's I don't know what the right word is, but it's an often not highlighted part of the campaign is the things that you don't see publicly going on behind the scenes. So, without getting partisan, there's certain parties that are, I say, meaner than others. And when you become on the ballot, you're a target. And I had all sorts of hurtful, hateful messages that come through privately because nobody wants to publicly say a lot of these things because they're hiding behind their keyboard. But that's a really big part of politics that I don't think the average person understands is going on behind the scenes because it's just not out there. We're seeing it a little bit more in this election. It's getting a little bit testy, but not to that level that I think us as candidates probably experienced.
And
That's it. Yeah, sorry. Like, so that brings up the whole issue of leadership and confidence. I know where I got my confidence from. You can say whatever you want to say about me. It's gonna hit, like I just mentioned, but it's not gonna stop me. Like I'll continue to move on and on and on. So like I had a godfather who took me aside. It was just really, just it could be just one or it could be several. And he kind of gave me these really positive comments over and over again. son, you can do this if you want to do it, or son, you want to be the premier, then go fight for it. If you want to be the captain of the team, then you can do it. You have these skills. And I don't know how often people have that said to them, or have that opportunity. I've done some research, and people have had that, and it's very impactful. And Kelly, you've had some stuff thrown at you. Where does your confidence come from to continue? And I think it's leadership. That's why we go out, and I don't know, we have the ability to lead because we have this confidence. And lead, I'm putting in quotation marks again, because it's we worked on the definition. I don't think we came to a conclusion on what leadership is.
No, we didn't, and we probably never will, because it would be so much. Since then I've chatted with numerous people who have different ideas. One thing that is a common thread is the authenticity and the honesty in which we talk about this. And I think that is a compelling piece of leadership. I'd like, and one piece that you brought up, Rishi, that I really now resonates with me is people taking risk. That whatever definition of leadership is, if there's 10 pieces, taking a risk. Now, taking a risk to Kelly and to me and you could all be a different thing. Me walking out the door, if I hypothetically had mental disease, would be a risk for me, which for nobody else would be. So it's taking the risk of which is amplified during an election. You are taking massive risk. Yeah. And as Kelly just mentioned, during now, since the advent of social media in the mid-2000s, there are a bazillion ways in which you can be bullied, verbally accosted, insulted, tempting one to think, why take that risk at all? I mean, what is to gain?
Threatened.
Yeah, it's kind of where I'm at, John. You look at it, and you look at you have this ingrained want to help people. So there's that. Plus, you also have this opportunity and will to lead. And so I think this is what, like, politicians, I think they're all good people. I think when they get in there, when you're running and they're riding, and it's not easy, Kelly or John or Kelly, it's a very, very difficult thing. So the question is, why now? Like, why would you put your name forward with what's going on nowadays? And it's to be a leader. Why would you possibly want to be a leader? Because you are that target. It makes no sense if you really think about it.
Right.
Go on your way. I can work on my residential housing project instead. I work on my thesis instead. Work on doing these great shows instead of putting myself
for dinner with your wife and not worry about it.
Yeah, you can focus on your family, which I did, and it was amazing to do that. Like here people are setting up signs at midnight and knocking on doors, making calls, and which I completely love. But I've found other things to fill my time with, which are very rewarding, like this video.
Yeah, this is so fun. We'll keep going.
Kelly,
I like.
Did you get a chance to think? Do you think it's time to think about where that confidence came from in you?
Well, I think everybody inherently wants to help in some way. We all want to do something that improves either the lives of others or people close to us or ourselves or whatever it happens to be.
Really? That's so noble.
But we all have different ways of doing it.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. And so some of us look at public office, or we look at other things like boards of trade or different organizations if we can devote our time to helping in different ways. And I think that's a leadership quality. I know that doesn't define it, but I think that's definitely one where we look at areas that we can better our surroundings, whatever that.
Very cool.
I don't know if it's courage to run in an election or maybe just I don't know, maybe something else. My favorite thing about the current election is that I'm not in it, so maybe that says more. Yeah. Spectator.
I think we're going to be the first political conversation that doesn't talk about politics.
It doesn't talk about politics.
Let's not.
John, same question to you, John. Where's your confidence? You've mentored so many people. You've been a leader. You're out in the community continuously. You started this, quite frankly. Where's that confidence come from?
That's a great question. No one's ever asked me that. I've thought about that. Where does that come from? Somewhere, and I have an answer that might be a bit warped, but somewhere in the family dynamic of me when I was a young man and my relationship to my father and my mother and all that stuff has compelled me to do things that might be in reference to that dynamic. I mean, I mean that's pretty maybe TMI for people, but you know, but over time, I do fall into the Kelly definition in that I want to help people, but I am a serial entrepreneur. I love taking risk, and I'm compelled to do that.
Yeah.
Now, why am I compelled to do that? Why is any entrepreneur compelled to do that? Well, that is a very, very personal question. Why are we, okay, I'll go through a week and I haven't had some leadership event. I'm yearning it. I'm needing it. It's a drug. And you all three of us have talked to people who've been in politics for a long time. They need it. Some would say it's ego. I think it's more than ego. It's some sort of compelling drive to be on the bleeding edge of something. Oh, I love that in business. I love it in everything I do, taking a risk. As soon as there's no risk, Rishi, I'm out.
Isn't that strange? After the leadership bug, after the thesis, I thought I'd take a break. I calmed down. I thought I would, but I didn't. Started a nonprofit with someone else. We did that. And then just this past weekend, I thought I should rest. So I just stopped. We had started this podcast or the Victoria Collective.
Yes.
And so this weekend I woke up, I think about 4:30, and I was kind of bored. I'm like, okay, now I'm bored. What do I do? So I wrote an editorial and I sent it to the Times Colonist, Globe and Mail, National Post, Vancouver Sun, Saanich News, and that was the editorial. And I thought, I've got this thesis. What else should I do? Did a journal article that I sent to Sage, Harvard Review, and something else. And I've actually thought about that. Am I doing this just to get my name out there? What's wrong with me? Why do I need to feel that? But it's actually, I think it's on Uncomfortable Conversations. It's about leadership. There's things that are happening in the world right now and in our local community that I think if we have more conversations and dialogue, it could be a positive. It could make for some positive movements. And that's what my whole thesis was on. I didn't do it to get my name out there. I just needed to send this editorial out. But I'll be accused of that by some friends saying, "What are you doing? Like, just stop."
It was a great article. No, I will never defer to that. I'd love to hear Kelly's opinion, but this need to test and to constantly move the boundaries or go to them and test them is something in individuals that you can see who has it. I don't know where that comes from, Rishi.
I really do. Like every time I ask, people always go to their history and their background, their family. Like there's an Indigenous scholar and writer who talked about this, and you'd think she's always putting herself out there in these difficult situations and talking about her indigeneity and background because of some of her family who told her they were warriors, who told her they were supposed to fight for themselves, and then all the hardship that they faced. But yet here she is, front and center. Come talk to me about it. I'm like, wow, where do you get that confidence from? And it was Angela Sterritt. Angela Sterritt's book. If you get a chance to read it, it's fascinating. She's done an excellent job.
People will ask me, well, what especially younger folks at the schools, etc. If when I have a chance to talk to them, well, wow, life of an entrepreneur. You can do what you want when you want. And whenever you care, you can not do it. You don't have to report to anyone. I go, actually, all of that is wrong. All of that is wrong. I am waking up like you did the other night, Rishi, and you're going, what am I going to do to change the world today? Yeah. And that happens, and it never goes away. And it's like a disease. Yeah. That if improperly guided can lead people to trouble, but that is the true essence of what it is. It's not a joyride, this leadership thing. It is actually a very compelling, almost destroying type of thing. You can never relax.
No.
Yeah.
And Kelly, your thoughts on this? Like some people are accidentally put in these leadership positions and then they think that they know what they're doing. No skills, no competencies, no training. And then you've got these people leading all these others, teaching all these bad habits, and they're not doing it for the right reasons. Like they're just put there just because. And
Yeah.
like leadership it's a continuous learning cycle. Like you were saying, John, like get the definition, very difficult to pull one, but
Yeah.
it's constant learning.
Well, that's a little bit of leadership versus management too, right? Um,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, talk about entrepreneurism, I guess that's a word.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's something that just gets embedded in you, and like
No,
I'm
no, it doesn't just get embedded.
no, no, it's there.
It is there. The seed
You're
is
born with
always
it.
there.
You're born with it, yeah. And I think, well, no, I think some people can grow into it, but that's really more of having the confidence to follow through with that idea. That's where a lot of entrepreneurs are born, and they succeed in some idea, and then they have the confidence, and that's where the leadership starts to develop, and they go, well, if I can do this, maybe I can do this over here. And I'm in that position right now, starting a new business that is completely different than anything I've ever done.
Mhm.
And I don't
Wow.
know why, because I'm just insane. And I thought, gee, I don't know, this year looks pretty boring. Maybe I'll do something completely different. But that year is now a 10-year plan, right? So I don't know what I've gotten myself into.
Well, I
But
think
it's
at the core, there's a seed. There's a seed of I want to fill in the blank, and
yeah,
I want to, and there's nothing going to stop you. There are a lot of businesses that go down that path and fail miserably because, in
mhm,
fact, they don't really see it to the end. They take a risk and it fails. Now, those people often don't ever recover. And then there's some who absolutely recover and see the cup is half full all the time.
yeah.
Uh,
I would argue though too, like if you look at some of the more successful entrepreneurs, they have to fail. Like they're most of them have failed because you can't shoot for the stars if you don't know what it's like to be on the bottom. And it's just that I can't remember who said, I think it might have been an Elon Musk quote, which is not in character for me, but I think he said something like, I got to this solution because I failed 297 times before, and every time I failed, I went, okay, good, I found another way that doesn't work.
mm,
And then you find the one that does. But
And linking that
also
to
in there, I think,
linking that to leadership, how terrible that was for all those people that they were supposedly leading on their path to
yeah,
those failures and success. And we don't think about that, right? You don't look at
yeah, that's
leadership as that skill that you need to have, that you need to be trained on. You just jump in there. Okay, now you start a business. Does that make you a good leader? No, I don't think so. You better
no.
take some time to learn the skills and competencies of leadership. Hopefully they're watching this video, John.
oh, they're going to be watching this video. There'll be lots of eyeballs on the video. But
This is the
they're
first you've heard
That's
of them.
interesting though. Like
mm,
maybe, and this is probably another discussion, but we should discuss like what are the tools that you surround yourself as a leader? Like I bet all of us, I mean, Rishi, we could see yours, but all of us have a bookshelf full of books, full of whether they're successful biographies or biographies of successful people or different processes or different frameworks and things that we all learn from. That's important, and you're not born a successful leader. Like I think what you're saying is you have to learn how to do it, and it's a grave responsibility. Like when you're responsible for 20, 30 people's paychecks, that's a big responsibility, and you better know what you're doing because you're going to let a lot of people down if you don't.
100%, Kelly.
well, I think we'll never solve this problem. At some point, all of us go, what am I doing this for? Why am I doing this? Um, I gotta hate this. God, I wish I didn't take this risk. And the next answer becomes, I'm going to overcome this. All right. I don't know, Rishi, to your original question, I do not know how one builds that strength. I
Mm.
don't know. I don't know why somebody will go, I'm out of here. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
And somebody will go, I'm hanging in there. I'm going to beat this.
You just described the current election.
Oh, wait.
Gotta take it back.
We
Maybe
vowed
you
not
cut
to go
that
to
part
politics.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'm just curious if you studied that seed, Rishi. It's a seed.
Yeah. So if you want to take the time to look at the thesis, there's lots of references in there when it comes to leadership and other challenges and different theories. Personal mastery is one that I think people need to really spend some time on. Take the time to do your digital journaling, take the time to do written journaling, whatever you like, and go back. I did digital journaling, talk for 10 minutes, and then go back and I listened to it, and you're like, oh my God. Like I had uncomfortable conversations with myself that I couldn't answer. I found myself silent because I was asking myself questions that I couldn't even talk about. So if I can't have uncomfortable conversations with myself, how can I possibly have it with someone else?
Mm.
My biases come in, my assumptions come in, my perspectives come in on everything all the time. So looking at that seed is you got to take the time to figure out where it actually came from. My dad's the president of the Hindu temple. My mom is a strong a woman raised in a difficult family. My Thaya, my godfather, who constantly was positive. My other uncle. So then I'm looking at this with an appreciative lens instead of being negative. This is what happened to me in my childhood. You'll find that seed once you look at that appreciative lens. Like, oh, maybe that's why I have this, and it can go back several generations, or it just starts. Like maybe you could be that one person that builds that seed in that first youth or that individual. Say, you do that really well. I coach soccer. Anytime someone does something positive, you're damn right. I'm going to say that was an excellent jockeying or excellent kick, and then just that little bit of positivity. Maybe you'll start that seed. It's in there, but it's I did a deep journey of mine, and I found it.
You found it.
Go
You
ahead.
found the seed
Go
through self-journaling,
Self-journaling
discussion,
stuff.
introspection.
3 years, John. That's like
Wow.
3 years of stuff in that thesis, and then the class, the leadership class, the journaling, the constant thinking, and I shot myself down from all these external voices for a long time, and through that thesis, my friends were like, "Are you alive?" Essentially, I said,
Wow.
"Yeah, I am. I'm really, really into this." Yeah, it was very taxing. It takes time, but it's worth it.
If I could now, our viewers are probably so enchanted by what we're saying, but they do have a limit. So I have a final question for the two of you, and it's around leadership and running for office. A lot of folks, when they run for office, potentially they lose and go through sort of a real depression.
Mhm.
I've heard about that. It can crush them. So why? If we think about now what we're doing, we're trying to do this, we're trying to run for a reason. There's an objective reason. We're trying to help the community. I wasn't voted in. Okay, I'm going to keep trying to do that other ways. Is it just ego? Is it that? Is it nothing to do with leadership?
It's I can jump in. It's
Yeah.
again like just going back to like that self-reflection and that appreciative lens and trying to find why you did do it, and it's not a failure. I've said that many times. Oh, I lost, I failed, and then people will jump at me and say, no, you didn't, because you impact so many different people and you've tried and you put yourself out there where others wouldn't. If anyone has an opportunity to run, put their name for it, I highly recommend they do it. It's
Wow.
life changing, and it's very, very, it's positive. And again, I did it again to be part of the community where I was part of the community. That really embedded me in there. Like, I'm here to fight for representatives in the community. I have my ideals, but I was there to listen and actually fight for folks. I got swayed by a couple of negative things, but that's okay. But I think when you do lose, and you might, it's really think about what impacts you did make and why you did it, and it really helped me out thinking about that.
That's really cool. How about you, Kelly?
I I mean, I didn't experience a depression. I think, and maybe this is a leadership quality, is I woke up the next morning and said, okay, what's next? We did that, tried our best, didn't work. What do we do now?
Mm.
And come up with that list. And
Mhm.
I did it to try to make a difference, and I do other things to try to make a difference. That whether you win or lose often isn't dependent even on how hard you tried, how hard your team tried, whether you were, there's a lot of different factors, but a lot of these things are predetermined too. But just the ability to get up and say, okay, let's try something else. Let's keep moving forward. Let's keep coming up with ideas. Let's keep trying to make a difference.
I think that's a great way to end our conversation today. And we're going to have a lot of clips, and I hope a lot of people listen, because this is a master class in what I'm going to call political and personal leadership. And cannot wait to talk to you gentlemen again. So thank you very much. Please consider subscribing to the Victoria Leadership Collective. We have a Facebook page here. You can see the address on the bottom, and there'll be many more conversations with all of us and others. We're attracting others, Rishi, that want to come on and talk about these things. And as anyone can see, it is certainly a different opinion. Everyone has a different opinion on what we're doing and the leadership pieces of what they're doing. Can't thank you both enough.
Thank you.
John.